welcome to Doubles and Trebles in association with dartsnews.com. We're here today to talk about the UK Open, the first big TV tournament of 2021. Yes, we've had the Masters, but that's not a ranking event. This is the UK Open. It's the FA Cup of Darts. It's on for 3 days, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. And from Saturday onwards, the exciting part is it's a random draw. There's no seeds. It's the FA Cup of Darts, and that's what we love about it. Is it a darting major? That might be a question for another day, Pieman. I know we've had a couple of questions in the comments about that, so we'll cover that on another day. But we've covered all the players in form, all the players out of form. We had 4 days of Super Series action, or Players' Championship action, if you prefer, over the weekend just gone. That was 4 days of back-to-back action. Pieman and myself covered that in a review video, so we'll put the link for that one below, and that's where you'll find out who's in form and who isn't in form. So we're going to go straight in, Pieman, with our betting picks for the tournament. But firstly, Pieman's just going to talk to us about the format of the UK Open, and it is quite unique, Pieman.
Yeah, cheers, Adam. So as you say, UK Open, it's the FA Cup of Darts, as it's affectionately known, and that is purely because of the random nature of it. From the third round onwards, we've got, from the fourth round onwards, when all the big boys come in, we've got a random draw. But just to walk you through it, because obviously it's quite a quick-moving tournament for what it is, only 3 days long. A lot of the bigger tournaments on TV will span over a week or two. So this is quick fire, but it's really high quality, and it's very, very entertaining. You can guarantee some big upsets. Round one, we'll have all the qualifiers come in. Now, normally we'd have lots of Riley's qualifiers that would come from all around the country, but with coronavirus, that hasn't happened this year. So the qualifiers have been made up of the players who just kind of missed out at the bottom end of Q school. So the players that were near getting their card have been classed as a qualifier for the UK Open, and they come in along with the lower ranked Pro Tour players in at round one. Now, they'll play off in a best of 11, first to 6 legs, going to round 2, where some more Pro Tour card holders will come in. Again, best of 6 legs, and same in round 3, first to 6 legs. So it's quite a quick fire format. That's for all the lower players. The higher your ranking, the later you come in. So, for example, 33 to 64, they don't come in till round 3. Now, the big boys, 1 to 32, they come in at round 4. And as you say, that's when things get really interesting. The length of the games step up. We play first to 10 legs from round 4 onwards, right up until the quarterfinal. And then semi-finals and final is first to 11 legs. But yeah, by far and away, the standout thing to take out of this format is it's a random draw. So we could potentially have Michael Van Gerwen versus Gerwyn Price round 4. We could have any of these big boys can draw each other. So in a tournament, normally the likes of myself and yourself would be looking at the draw, trying to work out who's got a good route, who hasn't got a good route. None of that. That's out the window. So we're purely looking for players that are in form. And I think we're going to walk you through who we fancy. I know you fancy a couple. I fancy a couple. So I'll let you go first, Adam.
Yeah, so it's a similar story, just running through the odds, Pieman. The big boys are at the top of the list, as always. The topic we've covered. So Michael Van Gerwen is 5-1 favourite. Gerwyn Price is 6-1. So there is a field of a total field, including the qualifiers, rounds 1, 2, 3, of around 160 players. So that's why the odds are slightly inflated as an outright, because there's so many runners. Gerwyn Price 6-1. Pulled out, played poorly for the first 2 days of the Super Series. Pulled out for the second 2 days with an ear infection, I believe. Michael Van Gerwen made one quarterfinal out of the 4 days at the Super Series. He's 5-1 favourite. One thing that's changed a little bit, the disparity between the top two, the big two, and Peter Wright has grown a little bit. Peter Wright's 10-1 for this tournament. We are pretty negative towards his tinkering with his darts, etc. But I think 10-1 is about the correct price, and it's borderline attractive. Not saying I'm backing him, but it's not far off. Jonny Clayton and Joe Cullen, they're 12-1 and 18-1 respectively. They've been the informed players at the Super Series. Again, all covered in our Super Series review video. Then we've got the chasing pack, if you like, the mid-tier guys. Gary Anderson, Michael Smith, Jose De Souza, they're 25-1 and upwards. Dimitri Vandenberg's in there. Nathan Aspinall, who had a bit of a pick-up in form at the Super Series, he's in there. And Dirk Van Duijvenbode, Dave Chisnell, Heta, Ratajski, King, they're the ones up to and around 50-1. And you can chuck in James Wade, Glenn Durant, and Darryl Gurney in that mix as well. So that's how it's looking for the betting there. Like I say, Pieman, just touching on the big guys as we always do. Michael Van Gerwen didn't pull up any trees at the Super Series whatsoever, if you ask me. There's big question marks over Gerwin Price for reasons given, and Peter Wright seeing his odds drift for big tournaments just because of his pure tinkering. So just on the big three for the time being.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting one, isn't it? I kind of said in our Super Series video, I'm not sure Michael Van Gerwen will be put in as favourite for this tournament, but he has been, and I do understand it. There's concerns over Gerwin Price pulling out with an ear infection. You couldn't, in your right mind, install him as a favourite after he's missed the last 2 days of competitive action. You then drop down to your third favourite, Peter Wright, who's arguably in more struggling form than the other two. So I understand it, don't get me wrong, but what that makes for me is a very attractive market because I don't really fancy any of these three. I agree that with quality players out of form, and this goes for all sports, I like to look for the ceiling in their price. I like it because if you've got the class, you're never going to go years without winning a tournament. It's the same in golf. It's the same in a lot of individual sports, to be honest. So when these quality players reach a sort of ceiling price, I think you have to consider backing them because eventually they're going to return to form and win something. That's definitely the case for Peter Wright. Now, we're getting into double figures. This is getting back more to the range of when he was, before he won the World Championship, when he was regularly...
It was 16 to 1 for the World Championship.
It was regularly somewhere between 12s and 20s in the market, and you could get right behind that because you knew... Okay, you're still taking the same chance, but you're taking the chance of double the price that he's been in recent times. So I think Peter Wright is definitely a one to keep an eye on his price. I think he's definitely the most interesting of them three at this stage. Gerwin Price, like you say, got questions to answer with the ear infection, but if he comes back to form, he's probably the man to beat, isn't he? And Van Gerwen, well, they can't put him much bigger because they don't want to run up huge liabilities on someone with the talent of Michael Van Gerwen. But frankly, he has not shown anywhere near enough to be backing him at 5-1 favourite for such an open event as this. And that first to 10 format, yes, it'll help him, but it's still a short enough format for somebody to turn up and dump him out early.
Yeah, I've been an advocate for Price being favourite for these major tournaments. I've said that many times, but the ear infection and the possible after effects of that, I think it's the right decision, and they are, and the top in the market are priced correctly as far as I'm concerned. Actually, I think Jonny Clayton and Joe Cullen are both priced correctly. Yes, they're the men in form, but they've Cullen has not won a TV tournament before. I don't think Clayton's just got one recently, which is absolutely fine. But I think they're actually priced correctly now, to be fair, Pieman. The one man I am looking at from a betting point of view, I think that it's key here to keep it simple. Just go for someone that's in the top 32 because they've not got any banana skins in the earlier rounds. They come in at round 4 on Saturday and away they go. And the man for me is Dirk Van Duijvenbode. He's 40-1. This man had a bit of a breakout year in 2020. He was a Grand Prix runner-up, and he made the quarterfinals in the World Championship just over Christmas, just gone. But what I'm more happy with at the moment is his form shown in the Super Series last weekend. Over the 4 days, this Dirk Van Duijvenbode did not average under 90 at all, not once. So he made it to the last 32 on days 1, 2, and 3, and he averaged over 90 on each occasion. Couple of them he lost fair and square, but he lost one of the last 32 games to Krzysztof Ratajski, averaging 98, for example. On one game on day 2, he averaged 113. So he's definitely in form. And with a bit of a more of a look of the draw, could have gone on a bit further on the final day when quite a lot of the cream rose to the top time, and we reported that on our review video. He got a better run of results that his form deserved. He made it to a quarterfinal on the Sunday, the final day, just coming up short against Damon. Again, every average, and the game he played, 5 games I think that day, was over 90. 2 of them was over 100. So I think that was a good way in to get himself into form. He's 40-1. He's in the top 32. You're going to need a bit of luck with the draw, whichever player you pick for this. But I think, given what we've said about the top 3 in the market and the next 2, the Cullen and the Claytons, being now priced correctly, I think Dirk's in better form than the likes of Dimitri Van den Berg, people like that who were a shorter price than him. So yeah, big Dirk at 40-1. What I would say, or I forgot to mention earlier, I'm noticing on Oddschecker, Pieman, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've not seen this before, whereby most, if not all firms, are betting 4 places a quarter of the odds. We mentioned this for the Super Series, where it was only one supplier that was doing it, and I actually had a couple of messages saying, "Oh, I've backed your man each way, but I've done it with such and such a supplier, and they're only 2 places." So it is something to keep an eye on. I'm not used to seeing it. I don't like 2 places each way. I wouldn't back each way 2 places, but I would back each way 4 places. So this might be something on the bigger tournaments with the bigger fields like the UK Open that might carry on all the way up to the World Championships.
Well, it's about time we saw some pricing, creative pricing, shall we say. I mean, darts markets, they can get a little bit repetitive, and each way terms is certainly something that hasn't been good for darts punters in recent times. And I think this looked to 4 places. We saw one industry leader do it at the previous tournament in the Super Series, and it seems like they've all followed suit. Now, I'd like this to become the norm, to be honest. I think it just makes it a whole lot more attractive for outsiders. Often in darts, and especially in like our own approach, we like to look for big outsiders that we think are going to have a run, and the thought of them being, getting your payout for them making a semi-final as opposed to a final it makes a real difference. So I just think that's a really positive move all round. Really, everyone's a winner. I could totally understand.
Sorry, Pieman. On 2 places, from a betting perspective, I wouldn't back 2 places. I'd just back and win only, and then if they make the final, assess it, or they favourite, or they're the outsider, then just back the other player to level off, to make it a profit either way. That's 2 places does not appeal to me at all. 4 places would do.
Yeah, I totally echo what you're saying there, and I think that can only be a good thing. And the thing with what you're saying as well with Dirk Van Duijvenbode, I mean, 40 to 1, you can play that each way, and that's a lovely, that's a is it half odds, just out of interest?
Quarter. So 10 to 1.
It's a 10 to 1 winner for a semi-final. I mean, it's fantastic, really. You think about it, he hasn't actually got to win that many games there to get you a payout. So yeah, I think that's a good move all round, really.
So I'm on Big Dirk,
for you.
Who are you going to be on?
Now, you've said you believe that Joe Cullen and Jonny Clayton are now the right prices, and I echo that. I think they have been trimmed accordingly, and it's the most significant move we've seen in darts outright markets for some time. But it hasn't been enough to put me off one of them. And I like both of these players. And I feel a little bit dirty for playing in this range, to be honest, because you know me, I'm normally a big price man. But I just couldn't resist the 12 to 1 on Jonny Clayton. To my eye, the best player in darts right now. And he has been for a few months. And I'm not just saying this because he's done so well at the Super Series. He did it at the Masters. He was very unlucky to go out at the World Championships. There's nothing to suggest that he wasn't in this form long before this month. Because you go back in the books and look at his performances for the last 4 or 5 months. The evidence has been there ever since that World Cup win, which we talked about his rise to form more in that Super Series video. So if you haven't checked it out, do check that out. We'll go a bit more in depth, but. To my eye, the best player in darts right now, 12 to 1. It will take a monumental performance to knock Jonny Clayton out. He's playing with such supreme confidence. He's beaten all the big boys. He doesn't seem to hold any fear factor. I liked his interview when he won the last Super Series as well. He said to Dan Dawson asked him, "Are you the best player in darts right now?" And he certainly didn't say no, put it that way. And he's quite a humble guy, Jonny Clayton. So, I mean, it just shows the confidence ebbing through him, and I think this tournament is his. I don't want to say his to lose, but if you had to put a gun to my head and say who's going to win it, I'd say Jonny Clayton. So 12 to 1 for me. Yes, please.
Yeah, well, that's a very compelling argument there, Pieman. And like I say, I certainly wouldn't put you off. But nearly all the bets that I placed are based on prices that I think are wrong, and I actually think that the Jonny Clayton price is right. But with the form that he's in, he's not scared of anybody, and you should certainly be getting a run for your money. For the more ridiculous prices, which we're used to putting up on this channel, you've got more hurdles to get over because they're coming in at an earlier stage. So if you're not in the top 32, you've got more hard work to do. and hence you'll be a bigger price in the betting markets. A couple that I would nod towards too in the top 32. Jose de Souza didn't pull up any trees at the Super Series, but performed okay across the week and showed that he was in some okay form and maybe something that he's building on towards the UK Open. So 33 to 1, I wouldn't put anyone off that. Also in the top 32, a man that I put up for the Super Series. Didn't do it. He didn't really perform, to be honest with you, Stephen Bunting. But he is in the top 32, and again, he comes in at a later stage in the UK Open. So he's 125 to 1. Again, I might have might be a very, very small bet each way on him. An absolutely ridiculous price. A man that I've had my eye on, and I backed him a couple of times over the weekend in the Super Series, and didn't really get a run for me money. Is Martin Schindler. He's 500 to 1, Pieman. Unfortunately, he comes in at the first stage. You can get 500 to 1 with one supplier out there, and that's pretty much double the price that he is with anyone else. Unfortunately, that is with a supplier that's only 2 places each way. So it might just be simple £1 win for me at 500 to 1. You don't need a lot of money on at that.
No, you don't.
Yeah. Any massive outsiders for you, Pieman, that you've got your eye on?
Well, there's always massive outsiders I've got my eye on. But
well, there's one man you've not mentioned yet. Come on.
Yeah. Well, I'll do my traditional Mervyn King mention. I wouldn't be surprised if Merv. I wouldn't be surprised if Merv has a run in this tournament. I say it every video. He's in as good a form as most of the people in this tournament, and I saw nothing at the Super Series to largely concern me. But I'm not going to put him up as one of my selections because I'm worried I'm maybe cursing him a little bit. So Merv can have a free run this time without my monkey
in the
on
comments
his back.
Saying that you're related to Mervyn King. We've seen the comments.
Yeah. I know. I can categorically deny that. But anyway, the other one that takes my eye, and it's not an absolutely outrageous selection, but it is a massive price, 80 to 1. Gabriel Clemens. I just think he's massively overpriced. I mean, this is a guy that has done it all year last year on the floor events, shown it on the European stage as well. He had a really good World Championships where he knocked out Peter Wright. Probably should have got to the quarterfinals. Missed a lot of match darts against Krzysztof Ratajski. So very impressive. Then he rocked up at the Super Series. Bumped into a couple of players on fine form in the early days, but then sure enough got his run together. Day 4, made the semi-finals. He was a bit unlucky not to make the final. Very impressed with the way he played on that day. He looks in fine form. He took out more 3-figure checkouts in the Super Series than any other player. And that's a good indication that Gabe Clemens is in form, because when he's playing well, he will bang in them 3-figure checkouts like nobody else. So I just think 80 to 1, there's not many players at 80 to 1 where you genuinely wouldn't fear them against any other player. But he is one that I would say, even if he gets a Van Gerwen or a Price, I'll still fancy him to turn them over. So I think he's a fantastic each way bet, and I'd be looking for the 4 places if possible.
Yeah, so there you go. We've got two selections from each of us. I'm on Big Dirk 40 to 1 with a very speculative small go on Martin Schindler at 500. And the Pieman is not ready to get off the Clayton hype train. He's about 12 to 1, Jonny Clayton, and then Pieman's secondary selection being Gabe Clemens. So hopefully you'll get a run for your money. That'll wrap it up for the UK Open, Pieman. If you check us out on Twitter at doubles and trebles _, there'll be plenty of content on there throughout the tournament, and possibly even some match by match bets that we've got our eye on. That
definitely will be. Definitely will be. I've already eyed out a couple, but they'll be Twitter exclusive.
Exclusive content over on Twitter. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll be back soon.